Thank you, Sean. Thank you for everyone at Icon Coaching.
Simon, congratulations, man. You know what that is?
That's winning.
It's winning, baby. I love it when you're winning. That's fantastic.
I got 2 under contract, so that's like 2.8 million in 2 weeks.
You've got to take control of your production to make sure that you're making more money, your bank account balance is rising, that your net worth is increasing, and that's what we want to see happen.
So that they can save the listing.
Which I'm really, really thankful for, Sean. Thank you.
See everyone coming on board. Welcome to Icon Coaching's webinar.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's Sales Surge webinar. What we want to do is surge your sales. We really want to arm you and equip you with the right knowledge and skill set to where you can bring it out. And that's what today is all about. How to get the most out of yourself in the hours that you choose to invest in your work life. Now, I had the pleasure of collaborating with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan in the writing of this book, The One Thing. Now, this is all about how to get the most out of yourself and your team members and the hours that you choose to invest in work. Now, I was able to create all the training curriculum on the back end of the success of this #1 New York Times bestseller. And guys, when you apply this knowledge to your day-to-day operations, I got to tell you, you're going to accomplish more in less time. And I think that's why you've shown up today, is so that you can do just that, to just double your production in the hours you choose to invest in work. Now, we've all heard the phrases like all work expands to fill the time allowed. We get that. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. We get that too. You're going to learn today that time blocking, that's one thing. Anybody can build a time block schedule, yet you must follow a certain strategy to stick to the time block schedule. Otherwise, distractions are all around us. And the one thing I love about real estate sales more than anything is that this is a very calm and predictable business. Am I right? Of course not. Now, that was a joke, of course. Yet what I want to do is I want to bring some clarity to the abundance of tasks that you could be doing. We're going to narrow it today from what you could do to what maybe you should do. And I'm going to teach you strategy on how to make sure that that's happening for you on a daily basis. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Day, can you verify for me just real fast that you can see my screen?
Yes, all good, Sean.
Thank you so much, Day. All right, so here's the greatest challenge in life as I see it. And you see the 3 circles. See, the 3 circles represent everything that you could know. You'll never know it all. In fact, how many of you know somebody who thinks they know it all? How many of you live in the same household as that person, right? Also, the lower right circle, everything you could have, you'll never have it all. You could be the richest person on the face of the planet, no doubt about that. Lower left is everything you could do. Have you ever been on vacation with somebody who wants to do it all? That's not a vacation, it's a workout, no doubt about that. Now, you see the triangle in the center of the circles. And where the point of the triangle goes into the center of the circle, that little sliver, that piece of the pie represents everything you'll ever know, everything you'll ever do, everything you could ever have. And in the center, you see the 2 powerful words, my choices. See, it's your choices that dictate everything you'll know, do, or have. And yet many of us, we don't have, say, a lead generation problem, a conversion problem, a database management problem. What we have is a choice problem, right? Maybe we're making the wrong choices. We're doing the things that are comfortable to us. And sadly, the thing that's comfortable is not necessarily one that's going to move the needle for your production, your net income, or your net worth. So today you made a great choice to be here with all of us. It's no coincidence that you've joined this webinar. I believe that you're going to pick up something that's going to make all the difference in your world today. So be on the lookout for that. But the point I'm doing my very best to make right now, don't average your life. Take an extraordinary approach, and that's what we're going to talk through today. In fact, this number, 1440, is the greatest equalizer, in my opinion. And 1440 represents the number of minutes in a 24-hour period. Now, how is it that you have this person over here with the same 1,440 minutes as this person over here? The person to my right is crushing it, no doubt about that. They're making $1 million a year net after all expenses. And the person to the left is really struggling just paying their bills. Again, it's a choice problem. They're choosing to focus on the wrong things. So my input is go small. and this is a direct quote from the book, going small is ignoring the things you could do and doing what you should do. Now, sometimes I don't feel like doing what I should do, yet I think extraordinary success stems from doing what you need to do when you need to do it, even if you don't feel like it, yet doing it at the highest level possible. So it's recognizing that not all things matter equally. Yet, how do we generally approach life? Yeah, we generally approach that all things matter the same. Now, people don't matter the same. Tasks don't matter the same. There's no doubt about that. For example, when I'm getting ready to roll something new and different out here at Icon Coaching, guess what? My vendor relationships, my sponsor partners, they become incredibly important to me. Yet when we're just cruising along and everything's going great, they're not necessarily as important. Or if I'm not launching a new program or a live training event or something like that, they're not as important in that moment of time. So just recognizing not all things, not all people, not all tasks matter equally. I think we start there. See, it's a tighter way to connect what you do with what you want. It's realizing that extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. And we're going to talk through strategy today on how to make that happen. Now, we've got a list of icon maxims here. These are simple little phrases that almost magically shift your mindset. One that came to my mind as I was putting this together is focus on the plan, not the problem. See, if we focus, first off, what we focus on expands. Where our attention goes, our energy flows. We understand that. Like energy attracts like energy. It's been proven scientifically for years and years and years. So focus on the problem. Guess what happens? We're pulled to a past or even present type mindset that can become a very negative environment. Focus on the plan, though. What that does is it pushes you to a future mind space. And with the right plan, it's always a positive environment. Because what we focus on expands, no doubt about that. Focus on the problems, get more problems. Focus on the plan, and it has an immediate impact on your mindset, your attitude, the present actions, and future results. So some of you are sitting there saying, Shon, that all makes sense. I don't have a plan. Or I have a plan, yet it's kind of foggy. There's some mist around this plan, and I don't have that profound sense of clarity that everybody's talking about. When you know what to do, when to do it, why to do it, I don't think anything's going to stop you, provided you have the right plan. And that's a strong suit here at Icon Coaching, is to help you devise that plan. See, your conscious mind is the goal setter, yet what a lot of people don't recognize is the unconscious mind is the goal getter. I'm talking about your mindset. Now, your mindset is generally fixed, where your attitude is temporary. We get that. Yet your mindset might be that of, well, everything I do fails. If that's your mindset, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's right around the corner. Failure is right around the corner. Yet, if your mindset is, with the right plan, I'm going to succeed at the highest level possible, well, that aligns your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. Get them working in tandem together. See, we all struggle with internal conflict. I want the biggest coaching company on the face of the planet, and I want to be the best husband and father that I could possibly be. I want to net over $1 million. I want to be the highest producing realtor in my market area, and I want to take 5 weeks of vacation with my family. You understand this internal struggle that we all go through. And it only works when your conscious and your subconscious mind are aligned, where you're applying leverage to your business strategy and accomplishing more in less time. Love this quote from Jim Rohn. He said, "We either live our lives as an example or as a warning." So I encourage you to focus on being the example instead of the warning. I want to talk you through the domino effect, a geometric progression of your growth and what that might look like. See, in the writing of the book, The One Thing, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, they uncovered the case study around dominoes, right? A standard domino is 2 inches tall, yet what they learned is a 2-inch domino can knock over a domino that's 150 times the size of the previous domino. So a 2-inch domino can knock over a domino that's what? What's 1.5 times 2 inches? Yeah, it'd be a 3-inch domino, right? A 3-inch domino can knock over a 4.5-inch domino. And then my math kind of breaks down from there, but you get the point. See, this is a geometric progression of growth. It's not linear, it's geometric, meaning a linear progression of growth would mean, okay, I get a job in corporate America. They're going to pay me this salary. And every year that I'm with the company, they're going to give me a 2% raise. See, that's a linear progression of financial achievement. I encourage you to focus more on a geometric progression of growth toward financial achievement. So a 2-inch domino, being the first one, can knock over a domino that's 150% the size of the previous domino. So here's what I want you to get your mind around. If you did that and you lined them up, each domino being 150% the size of the previous domino, by the 18th domino, guys, it's taller than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. By the 23rd domino, it's taller than the Eiffel Tower. Look at this. At the 31st domino, it would be taller than Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world. Now look at this. By the 57th domino, it would span the distance from the Earth to the moon. It's a geometric progression of your growth. Now, when you make a commitment to improve yourself, recognize that your business, your production, your income is going to grow to the extent that you personally grow, then you can manipulate this model to your advantage. And we'll talk through it today. See, extraordinary success, guys, it's sequential. It's not simultaneous, meaning it's one thing at a time. Now, common misconception of this book is that it's just one thing. Nothing is further from the truth. It's one thing at a time. So let's talk about some of these lies that we generally buy into. In fact, in the book, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan outlined 6 lies that we buy into. Lie number 1, everything matters equally. We've already kind of touched on that, yet achievers, they always work from a clear sense of priority. Now think about that word, priority. What is your definition of the word? Many of you are thinking, well, it's the most important thing. So if that is truly the definition, is priorities even a real word? How can you have the most important things? You can only do one thing at a time. Another one of the lies we buy into is that we can multitask. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Here's my input. If you're working a to-do list, rather than doing that, I encourage you to work a success list. Now, it is important to document everything that needs to be done, no doubt about that. Yet you're not going to get it all done at the same time. It just can't happen. So narrowing your focus from a to-do list to a success list, I think, is critically important. See, to-do lists tend to be very long, where success lists are generally pretty short because they make getting to the heart of the matter the heart of the approach. So document everything that needs to be done. Let's say you have 25 things on your to-do list. Apply Pareto's principle. 20% of 25 things, well, you would narrow it down to 5 things. Then we go extreme Pareto and we apply Pareto's principle again. 20% of 5 things, 1 thing. That becomes the priority of the moment. See, don't be like most people that I know. They want to do 15 things all at once. They end up with their focus being far too diluted. They mistake movement for achievement. Work a success list rather than a to-do list. The second lie that we buy into, multitasking. Guys, we can't do it. It's impossible to multitask. In fact, Clifford Nass, he's a researcher, and he did a ton of studying around whether or not people could multitask. In fact, Clifford Nass was a self-identified non-multitasker. And through his research, here's what he said. He said he felt that they had some secret ability, but it turns out that high multitaskers are suckers for irrelevancy. They were outperformed on every measure. Although they'd convinced themselves and the world that they were great at it, there was just one problem. Multitaskers were just lousy at everything. Now, some people think that women can multitask better than men, or men can multitask better than women. Here's the point. We can't multitask. When I think of multitasking, I think of maybe a juggler, okay? Juggling 15 balls all at once, right? It looks as though he's doing many things all simultaneously, when in fact, he's just doing one thing at a time. Just catch, throw, catch, throw, catch, throw. And again, they're doing it so rapidly that it looks as though they're multitasking. They just can't. Love this quote from Steve Uzel. He's a comedian, by the way. Multitasking is merely an opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. Guys, narrow your focus. I want to take you through a quick exercise. Everybody grab a pen and paper. Here's what I want you to do. As quickly as you possibly can, just write the numbers 1 through 10 as fast as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That takes you about 5 seconds. I think you would agree. Then I want you to write the letters A through J as fast as you can from left to right. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Go ahead and write the numbers. It takes another 5 seconds. Now, point number 3, I want you to do it with me. Just turn to your left, look over your left shoulder, do it once per second, do it 10 times in a row. Do it with me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So 5 seconds to write 1 through 10, 5 seconds to write A through J, 10 seconds to look over your left shoulder, 10 times in a row, 20 seconds in total. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to first write the number 1, then beneath that, write the letter A. Then I want you to look over your left shoulder 1 time for 1 second. Then come back to your paper and write the letter 2, or the number 2. See, I'm already starting to get confused because I'm attempting to multitask. Write the number 2, beneath that, write the letter B, and then look over your left shoulder just for 1 second. Then write the number 3, the letter C, look over your left shoulder. Now, I'm going to give you 20 seconds, and let's see how many of you could actually make that happen. So here we go. I'm going to start my stopwatch and go. Write the number 1, letter A, look over your left shoulder. Number 2, letter B, look over your left shoulder. How are we doing? How are we doing? See, welcome to the mind of a self-proclaimed multitasker. Okay, are you done? Are you still going? See, the point is when we can segment our tasks, guys, we can be highly effective. The challenge is all the distractions that build up around us. So if doing the most important thing is the most important thing, why would you do anything else at the same time? It just doesn't make sense. Logically, we get it. Yet how do we generally act in our day-to-day? Of course, we say yes to every distraction. We say how high when the buyer or seller say jump. No doubt about that. So on average, in corporate America, we experience 43 interruptions in an 8-hour workday. That's 1 interruption every 11 minutes. Now you're in real estate, which means that you could probably double that number if you're a highly productive agent, no doubt about that. See, here's kind of a graph, again, outlined in the one thing. This is interrupted workflow versus focused workflow. See, here's how it works. Let's say that you sit down at your computer and you're going to type out an email. You've determined it's going to be 3 paragraphs in duration. You're going to send it out to your entire database. It's designed specifically to increase the number of referrals and or identify the people in your CRM that have an immediate need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. So you sit down at your computer, you're typing this email out. Let's say you're halfway through it, okay? You've got a paragraph and a half done, and somebody knocks on your door, they interrupt you. And they always start off by saying, hey, I don't want to interrupt you, but, and they just interrupted you, right? What you must do psychologically is you must detach from the primary work at hand, the priority work at hand, to reorient your thought process to the distraction. Then you deal with the distraction. Then you must switch task again back to the primary work. Now, here's the point I want you to get your mind around. If you're like me, then what you must do is you have to read that paragraph and a half that you've already typed out just to get your mind back into that train of thought. And that interrupted workflow, guys, that reorientation time, it affects our efficiency in a terrible way. In fact, researchers estimate that it affects our efficiency by about 26%. So the bottom line is this: if you're working 5 days a week, you're getting credit for less than 4 days actually invested in work. The next lie that we buy into is the lie of a disciplined life, that I must be disciplined in order to achieve the success that I want. Now, nothing is further from the truth. You've got all the willpower, you got all the courage, you got all the discipline required to be a success in real estate sales. It's just a matter of identifying the right actions, applying discipline to those actions. It's not being disciplined in all things. Just a handful of things is going to make all the difference in the world. So again, we don't need more discipline than we already have. We just need to direct and manage our discipline better. Choose the right action to build the right habit around that action, and it'll produce for you and your family for the rest of your career. Now, Megan Oaten out of the University College of London in Australia, she did a ton of research for all of us around habit formation. Now, what she will tell you that on average, it takes 66 days to form a habit. So you can see the L-shaped graph on your screen. The vertical line represents the amount of discipline that must be sustained to sustain the activity. The horizontal line would represent the amount of time. And what we're looking for is that curve to where we reach the point of what I call automaticity. where we're applying discipline to an activity, and we do that daily for 66 days in a row. The amount of discipline required to sustain the habit gets about as low as it can get. So on our website, I believe we have the 66-day habit tracker. I would encourage you to check that out. In fact, I'm going to grab that throughout our webinar. I'm going to post it to the chat so you can download the simple PDF at the top of this document. Here, I'm going to go off script a little bit. I'm going to stop this share. And I'm going to pull this up, and then I'm going to post it to the chat because I think this is so critically important to your success that it's worth pausing the webinar, getting my hands on this document so that I can share it with you. And here we go. All right, there it is. I've got the document, and let me go back to sharing my screen just real quick. You guys are going to love this, by the way. All right. Should be able to see my screen now. At the top of the document, it says the habit I choose to create is, and I want you to fill in this blank. What is that activity that if you just brought it to the point of automaticity or a habit that it would produce for you and your family for years and years to come? Some of you are thinking, okay, proactive lead generation. I got to do that consistently. I must do it every day in my business. Yet I'd say set a standard, set a number. See, we can't manage what we don't measure. So my input to you is to create a minimum of 10 live conversations every day, 5 of which should be in excess of 2 minutes in duration. And if you do that every day you do that, I want you to cross off one of these boxes. Just put an X over it. And your job is to maintain the chain. 10 conversations a day, every work day, for 66 days in a row. Guys, I promise you, your business is going to look better. It's going to look different. So I'm going to stop this share, and then I'm just going to open up the chat here. I'm going to post this PDF to the chat just real quick. Let you guys grab a hold of that. And I'll go back to sharing the slide deck here real quick. And let's jump back into the lies that we fall victim to what seems like daily. All right, that is the wrong screen. Come on, Shon, get it together, man. And here we go. This is the right screen. All right. You should be able to see 66-day habit forms on your screen, the role of discipline in achievement. All right. Lie number 4. Willpower is always on will call. See, I think that there's that old phrase, where there's a will, there's a way. I think it's probably done a little bit more harm than good. It should be when there's a will, there's a way. See, your willpower is just like the battery life on your cell phone. Every night, just like me, we plug these things in, right? Wake up in the morning, you look at it, yep, it's 100%, and we go on with our workday. Now, the more complicated the task you're doing on your phone, like if Siri's giving you turn-by-turn directions, it depletes the battery very quickly, and your willpower is no different. When you start your time block for, say, lead generation, lead follow-up, this is something you kind of have to psych yourself up to do just a little bit. And the longer you're in that time block doing it, your willpower is depleting really fast. And once your willpower battery is drained, you go back to the default settings. And for many of us, the default setting is, well, I don't feel like doing that today. I'll just do it tomorrow. Here's some evidence behind that. See, first off, the brain is 1/50th of your body's mass, yet it consumes 1/5 of your energy. See, willpower has a limited battery life. Here's a case study, or the results of a case study that we uncovered on the Israeli parole system. Now, there were 8 judges that were witnessed over a 10-month period, and the researchers, they analyzed the results of 43% of all of the parole requests that were made over this 10-month period. So it's a very extensive study. And you can see here that if you were first to go before the judge in the morning, you had about a 62% chance of being paroled. Now you can see how it begins to wane. And as you get toward the mid-morning break, you almost have a 0% chance of being paroled. Then after you come back from the break, it jumps back up to about 58% chance of being paroled, but then it wanes off toward the afternoon break. But then after that afternoon break, look at that. I mean, it hovers around a 20 to 25% chance of being paroled. This study has nothing to do with guilt nor innocence. It has everything to do with willpower. See, first thing in the morning, when the willpower batteries decide it's going to get, the judges were open-minded. They wanted to hear what the inmate had to say. And because they were willing to hear what they had to say and really give them the benefit of the doubt because their willpower was high, they released the person from prison. Now, if you knew this and you knew that you were going to go before the judge the last in the day, of course, you'd want to reschedule. I don't feel so well today. Could I go tomorrow morning? Would that be at all possible, right? So again, it had nothing to do with guilt nor innocence. It had everything to do with willpower. This is why that if you want to shed a few pounds and you jump on a diet, if you have an exceptionally hard day at work, you get home, you open up your pantry, and man, you'll shove anything into your mouth that you see because your willpower is completely depleted. So lead generation, lead follow-up should be done in the AM hours of the day. Take care of your priority first. Then worry about everybody else's priority. I think the mistake a lot of people make is the first thing they do in the morning is they open their email inbox. Now, the moment you open that, just recognize you made a conscious decision to begin managing everybody else's priorities instead of your own. The individuals I coach, I encourage them, don't check your email until 12 o'clock. Now, some of you just freaked out on me. Really? No, Shon, I just got an offer and I'm on my brand new listing and it came in late last night. I've got to present it first thing this morning. Do you? Do you really? Is that really your priority? Think about this. See, if that is your priority, sure, you get the deal under contract, but what happened to your lead generation and lead follow-up that day? Of course, it got completely derailed. Your priority is a minimum of 10 live conversations a day. Guys, when you do that and you treat that as your priority, meaning come hell or high water, I'm going to do that every single day that I choose to work. Guys, make that commitment and you'll be able to provide for yourself and your loved ones at a very, very high level for years and years to come. So the next lie is this lie of a balanced life. See, when doing a seminar, I often ask people, stand up with me. Everybody stand up. Now stand on one foot, right? Then I ask the question, are you balanced or are you balancing? And of course, the answer is I'm balancing. Well, your work life is no different. There's no such thing as a balanced life. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. It doesn't exist. Magic happens at the extreme. There's going to be times where your work life becomes incredibly important and you're putting in 75, 80 hours a week. There's no doubt about that. Then there's times where you're on vacation and you want to just spend time with your family and your loved ones. You don't want anything to do with work during those times, and I totally get that. Yet, anybody who's achieved extraordinary success will tell you that life is a balancing act. In the book, we outlined this imaginary center line of balance. Now, have you ever heard of the term quantum jitter? It's a physics term. And the definition of quantum jitter is that the resting state of energy is never zero, okay? Meaning we all know that gases float around, that liquids slosh around, and at the same time, though, imperceivable to most people, even the asphalt out in the street is vibrating at subatomic level. See, there is nothing balanced in this universe. Everything is balancing, and you're no different. So you're going to get into your time block for lead generation, head down focused for maybe a couple of hours. Now, during that 2 hours, I want you to imagine that you stepped into a submarine, you closed the hatch, and every minute you're in that time blocking, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper, and the pressure from the outside world is building up. And then, of course, at the end of the time block, you come up to the surface, you open the hatch, and you deal with the cry of the urgent. So imagine life as a game where you're juggling 5 balls. The balls are called work, family, health, friends, and integrity. And you're keeping them all up in the air, but one day you finally come to understand that work is a rubber ball. It'll bounce back to you. The other 4 balls, family, health, friends, integrity, they're made of glass. If you drop one of these, well, it will be irrevocably scuffed, nicked, or even shattered. What a great quote from James Patterson. The next lie, that big is somehow bad. I mean, we've all bought into certain phrases, right? Like, especially around financial wealth. You could probably finish my sentences for me. You know, money doesn't grow on trees, right? You can't take it with you. The love of money is the root of all evil, no doubt about that. Now, I believe in loving people and using money rather than using people and loving money. I think there's a distinction there that must be understood if you choose to achieve extraordinary financial wealth. Yet, this whole concept around big is bad. See, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to set goals. I'm going to set small goals. Okay. And as I build up to it, then I'm going to raise the goals and I'm going to raise the standards and I'm going to raise the actions as I build into this. Now, the challenge with that, small thinking requires small actions, small relationships, and you get small results. Now, the bigger you think, the bigger actions you take, the bigger relationships you form, yet most importantly, the bigger habits you begin to possess. So, if people aren't laughing at your goals, you're not thinking big enough. Set goals for beyond what you think is possible, then tell the world about it. Increase the accountability by opening up and telling people what you intend to accomplish. All right, so how do you eliminate these 6 lies and gain massive clarity? And while I could talk to you guys about this all day long, we're limited in the time frame for this webinar. In fact, we're at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to open it to Q&A in just 1 second. I do want to share with you the focusing question. This will help you get to the bottom line and really focus on priority. Here's the question. It's the core of the book. It's this humble little question that almost magically shifts your mindset, gets you to focus on the priority at hand. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So look at that to-do list. I got 25 things I need to do. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Such a powerful question. I want you to take a screenshot of this. Take out your phone, take a picture of it, save it as your wallpaper, because I encourage you to ask yourself this question 50, 60 times a day. It will help you narrow your focus to the priority of the moment. Now, there are 7 key areas of life, and we rank these in terms of our perception of priority. At the top of these 7 circles, your spiritual life. I encourage you, apply the focusing question to your spiritual life. It's not a religious statement, so if it offends you, take a pill. Come on, chill out. What's the one thing you can do as it relates to your spiritual life that such by doing it, everything else will be easier and a lot of things unnecessary? How about your physical health? I mean, bottom line is, if you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? And, replacement parts are really hard to find and they're very, very expensive. Okay, so take care of your physical health. Then beyond that, it's your personal life. What's that one activity that grounds you? For me, it's golf. I love the sport. Now, I can't go golfing every single day. It takes too long, but I can certainly go down to the club and hit a bucket of balls if I got a break for 20 minutes. What grounds you personally? How about your key relationships? Now, 2 categories for this particular category: key relationships in business and key relationships in your personal life. Recognize all of these relationships require their own counterbalancing strategies. Like I think of my wife, for example, very important relationship to me, one that I care to nurture and make sure it lasts forever. So when I take off on an airplane to go present in some city, I'll call her once I make it through security. I make it to the gate. Hey, honey, just wanted to let you know, flight's on time. Everything looks great. I made it to the gate. And then I'll get on the plane. I take off. I land. Before it even pulls up to the gate, I'll check in with her. Hey, honey, just want to let you know I just landed. I'll be heading to the hotel here as soon as I get my luggage together. And then I'll get to the hotel and I'll check in with her. Hey, just want to check on you, the kids. I'm at the hotel. Everything okay? See, that relationship requires its own counterbalancing strategy where I stay really close to this imaginary line of balance, right? I'm constantly hovering around the middle. Now, I think of like my father, who I love to death, and he loves me. It doesn't require that constant hovering around the center, though. We could go a month without talking. So imagine we're deviating from the center line of absolute balance way out here, but then we'll come right back to the center line of balance and we just pick up right where we left off. Recognizing what is the counterbalance strategy for every relationship that you have, you'll be able to manage them appropriately and make sure that you're happy and everybody else is happy. And beyond that, you've got your job and your business. Now, a lot of people say, well, what are the difference? Well, your job is actually when you're down in the weeds, working in the business, where your business is when you actually detach from it a little bit. You look at it from the outside in and you say, okay, I'm going to work on my business. This is the implementation and deployment of new strategies and tactics. And by working the one thing methodology, guys, you're going to find that you have the time to really launch new strategies and tactics. Then, of course, the final circle, the least priority is the finances, because I believe if you take care of the other 6 first, then the finances take care of themselves almost automatically. Then you must be a good steward of money, yet still apply the focusing question. As it relates to my financial life, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? For my wife and I, it's calculating our net worth on a monthly basis. where you take your assets, you take your debts, and you simply do the subtraction. What is your net worth? Like if you were to just sell everything off, how much liquidity do you have? And by understanding that number on a monthly basis, of course, it causes our focus to go toward increasing that net worth every single month. And I encourage you to do the same thing. All right. So additionally, it's recognizing, well, what do I want? I'd encourage you to say, okay, here's where I'm at today. Here's where I want to be someday. And yet the shortest distance between these 2 points, gang, it's a straight line. Yet a lot of people don't live their life in a straight line, do they? In fact, they make the next logical decision, the next, right? And oftentimes they're running out of time, energy, money, resources, whatever. They're forced to give up instead of go up. They never accomplish that someday vision, where rather you recognize, here's where I'm at today. Here's where I want to be someday, and then simply reverse engineering. So what are the benchmarks of success? Someday I want to own 100 rental properties. Perfect. Based on that, let's reverse engineer it. So if I want 100 rental properties, say in 10 years, it would make sense in 5 years that I own at least 50. You guys with me on that? So these are the benchmarks for 5 years that if I accomplish those, I'm on track for the someday vision. Based on the 5-year benchmarks, where do I need to be in 3 years to be on track to accomplish the 5-year benchmarks and the someday vision? Based on the 3-year benchmarks, where do I need to be in the next year? This is where we build your annual business plan around. By the way, here at Icon Coaching, we call it the GPS, the 135, whatever you choose to call it. I call it the ETA. It stands for expectation, targets, and actions. 1 expectation, 3 targets, 5 actions under each target. Then, where must you be in 6 months to be on track to accomplish your 1-year benchmarks, your 3-year benchmarks, your 5-year benchmarks, and the someday vision? And how about this month, this week, or today, even right now? What's that logical step for you to take that straight line step to the accomplishment of the someday vision? I want to talk to you a little bit about time blocking, because building your time block, well, that's one thing. Protecting your time block is something entirely different. Like I said, anybody, if you know how to use Outlook or even Excel, you could build out a perfect week schedule. Yet sticking to it, again, is something entirely different. I'm going to share with you 4 proven strategies, just real quick. I want you to write them down, and I'm going to use military terms, okay? Number 1 is to build a bunker. Where can you go that the enemy can't get to you? So you're out on the battlefield, the general yells retreat, and you all retreat to your bunker. Again, you're safe there. So the first thing you want to do is build it to where the enemy can't get to you. What are the distractions that pop up for you? So next is to sweep for mines. Imagine a landmine in the center of your bunker. You step on it, it's going to blow up your whole day. Third would be to store provisions. What would you leave the bunker for? Is it a bottle of water? Well, why not just buy a case of bottled water and have it there in your office, or one of those bubblers or whatever? Maybe it's Advil, have it in your drawer. Is it snacks? Have them easily accessible, because if you're like me and you leave the bunker, your chances are you're going to get sniped, right? Meaning if I go to the kitchen right now to make a new cup of coffee, well, chances are my daughter, my wife, they're going to say, hey, Shon, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that, right? So I've actually got an office outside of my home. I happen to be working from my home office right now, yet I've got an office outside of my home, and I've got important things that I really need to get done. I'll get into an environment that's going to support my goals, right? Now, the environment is not only the physical space that you're in, but it's also the people that surround you. They must be just supportive in you accomplishing what you choose to accomplish. So build your bunker, sweep for mines. What are your mines? Like for me, it's Outlook, or it's my text messages on my phone, social media, notifications. These are all distractions that if I say yes, like if I get that little window that pops up and says, hey, Shon, you got a new email. And I notice it's from somebody who I really want to connect with. And if I click that, what it does, it opens my entire email inbox. And sadly, I, like you, fall victim to that, where 15 minutes later, I'm still going through emails. It's not my priority, it's everybody else's priorities, yet I'm managing all of that. Now, there's a time to do that because emails are important, they're just not urgent. No such thing as an email emergency. So you could do it after 12 o'clock. Take those AM hours that are so precious and focus on the dollar productive activities. To me, that's practice first. Let's agree, practice isn't something you did, it's something you do. So you're working on objection handling skills, you're working on lead-in conversations to set appointments, and you're focusing on refining what you say and how you say it. Then it's about saying it to enough people. So you're going to shift gears, say at 9 a.m., and you're going to do your lead follow-up. These are people that have already raised their hands. You're going to do that for 60 minutes, and you're going to take a short break, and you're going to come back and you're going to do proactive lead generation. You're calling FSBOs, maybe expired listings, FURBOs. Maybe you're doing circle prospecting, business-to-business networking, calling the notice of default list. Whatever strategies you choose to engage in, that's the time block for it. Then at 12 o'clock, I don't care what you do. As long as you've made 10 live conversations happen, go sit on the couch and binge watch Netflix. You've got my permission. Here's the point, though. You won't have time to sit on the couch because the afternoon's going to be taken care of all by itself, where you're going on more appointments, you're negotiating contracts, and those are PM activities. See, there's only 5 things that are going to move the needle for your production: practice, lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. It's those of you who have figured it out, how to give an inordinate amount of time to those 5 things. You're the ones that are going to double your production this year over last, and next year again, and the year after that as well. So accountability, let's talk about this just for a moment. See, accountability to me is just a form of kindness or caring or even love. When you hold somebody accountable, you do it because you care about them. That's what we do at Icon Coaching. We help people with accountability. See, we're independent contractors. Man, we want all this freedom, all the flexibility, and we struggle with ways to be accountable. Now, here's some research that we've done. Individuals with written goals, guys, are 39.5% more likely to succeed. Now, hear this. Individuals with written goals and weekly accountability, they more than almost double, I should say, the chances of success. 76.7% more likely to achieve their goals. Now, when I was with Keller Williams, and I did step away from Keller Williams at the end of 2016, yet here's the research that we did. Market centers that were in coaching with us, they achieved almost double, more than double the production of those market centers whose leadership was not in coaching with us. So guys, the writing is on the wall. It's just obvious. See, out of all producing Keller Williams agents at that time, individuals that were in coaching, they sold 335% more in dollar volume, 287% more in units, and made 315% more in gross commission income than agents who were not in coaching. So guys, this is a no-brainer to me. I think you need to get in a coach. You need this accountability. It comes in many forms. It could be a mentor. It could be a peer. It could be a coach, which is the highest form of accountability in my mind. See, bottom line is this, guys. You are your own first domino. Many of you just need to get out of your own way and let your life be big. So what I'm going to ask of you, and it's a simple ask, is that you schedule a strategy session with me directly, one-on-one. In a matter of moments, I'm just going to post my scheduling link to the chat, and you guys could just self-identify a time that's going to work really well for you to meet with me. And bear with me as I grab that real quick. I thought I had it queued up. It's just not there. Here we go. I got it now. And maybe Day, you might have already posted it to the chat, but here we go. Let me make sure it's going to everyone. All right. So there's my scheduling link, guys, and that's my only call to action. Let's just jump on a call together. No strings, no obligations, just clarity and an opportunity for you to identify new and appropriate lead generation strategies and tactics. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about and make sure that you've got clarity, yet it's free. I mean, you literally have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Guys, there are 6 steps to building your production. I'd like to walk you through those 6 steps on this free strategy session. I'm also going to take you through a quick business assessment. You'll receive your business assessment score at the end and know exactly, with a profound sense of clarity, what you must focus on to get to that next level of success. So guys, here's to clarity. It's up to you. Click that link, schedule a call, and let's figure out where you're at in your business. Let me get to know you a little bit, and let me just shortcut your path to success. That's my purpose. That's my why. And I want to see you absolutely crush it with your career. So it's up to you guys. Take action or don't. It's easy to take action, and it's easy not to take action. It's up to you, though. Take action right now. Schedule your call. And by the way, we do this every single week. In fact, this coming Tuesday, guys, You can't miss this. And I mean, you literally can't miss this. I've got Chris Craddock. He's going to be a guest on my webinar series called Sales Surge. Now, Chris and his team close over 700 transactions a year. He's going to share with you a couple of lead generation strategies that you probably have never thought about before. In fact, when I started coaching Chris and his team, he exposed me to a couple of new lead generation strategies that, frankly, in 33 years, I'd never heard of before. And yet he connected the dots. He wants you to connect the dots. And by registering for that, I promise you, Chris is going to just pour into you guys. He's going to add value to you. And you're going to walk away from that webinar with at least one new lead generation strategy that is going to make all the difference. Go to iconcoaching.com, register for that webinar. Do it right now. In fact, thank you, Dave, for posting that to the chat. There's the webinar sign up link. It's posted to the chat. Please take action. 2 things I want you to do. Register for Chris's webinar and schedule an assessment call with me, a strategy session. Let's take you through that and let's find you that profound sense of clarity. When you've got it, nothing's going to stop you. All right, guys, see you next week. Until then, just be on purpose, be productive, and be powerful. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.